This is The Practical Path, a podcast for personal and spiritual growth. And today, step number 31 along the path, as the hosts reflect on that experiment in journaling they both tried over the past couple of weeks, and some interesting ideas on voices in your head. Now, let's get started on the path for today. And indeed, welcome to The Practical Path. This is episode 31 along our path of personal and spiritual growth. I'm Bill Skladowski, coming to you live and direct from Gainesville, Florida. Vicki Wagner coming to you live and direct from somewhere in the mountains of Blue Ridge, North Georgia. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
I was going to say, we're happy to know that the United States Mail finds you and Amazon finds you and all of that. So no big deal. Yeah.
No, I'm here.
Now, before we go too far, way that we record the podcast on a Tuesday, this is behind the scenes. This is inside baseball stuff. None of our listeners really care, but we record this on Tuesday. It comes out on the Thursday of the same week. And on that Thursday, this Thursday, which will be March the 13th, it will be Vicki Wagner's birthday. So I want to be the first to say happy birthday, because as people hear me saying happy birthday, it will actually be your birthday.
It will be my birthday. 72.
Who says there's no such thing as time travel? I mean, come on, look at that. We just leapt ahead 2 days.
We did.
So,
we did.
Congratulations for another successful trip around the sun.
Yes. Yes. Happy to be upright.
How's that work? Let's see. There should be some deep philosophical meaning to this, like, any major new lessons learned or aha moments, and she's shaking her head.
No, it's just, like I said, I'm happy to be upright. I'm very healthy. I'm very fortunate. I have a great family, a wonderful husband, great friends. So life is pretty good.
There you go. That's all we can ask. Well, I mean, you can ask to win the lottery, but those odds are pretty slim. But the other odds, actually, I shouldn't say that, because some people don't have very good odds of good family and friends and all, and health and all of that as well. Yeah. So we'll take that. That's fine. That's good. So happy birthday to you, and
thank you.
Many, many more, as they say, or however many more as you want. It's
as many as I can get.
Many you can get. Okay, that's cool. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I was reflecting on that the other day, talking with our friend BJ Oda, my old radio partner, and all that, about, it's so interesting to me that every week there's, when he and I are off the air chatting, I'll just ask, like, well, how many doctor's appointments this week? What are you doing? Where are you going? Whatever.
I know, bless his heart.
God bless him, but he's hanging in there too. Everybody just has their own system or pattern, or I don't know what you call it, but everybody has their own thing. Yeah. And they follow along with that thing, and that's how it goes. So there you go.
It's our karma. It's what we've been given this lifetime, what we're supposed to learn and to grow from.
Is it something we've been given, or is it something we chose before we arrived here in this body for this lifetime?
Oh, definitely something that we chose.
Okay.
So we choose it to learn lessons.
I agree with that 100%. I do.
To evolve and move forward and to advance.
Yeah, it's always occurred to me that this life, and when I say this life, I mean anybody's life, even if you live to 100, for God's sakes,
right,
is in the cosmic scheme of things, which is one of my old favorite terms, in the giant plan of the universe. I don't know if the universe has a giant plan, but in the way things work, even if you were to live 100 years, that is the blinkiest blink of an eye compared to the millions and millions and billions of years that this universe has been around and grows and develops and all of that. And I hope, and I believe, that we have a little bit bigger role to play than just the 100 years we're given on this planet, on this rock, spinning around this star in the outer corner of the galaxy somewhere. It just is. I just think, like you said, I think we're here to learn some lessons.
Yep.
and to hopefully grow and
Mhm.
figure some things out and perhaps take those lessons with us to other lifetimes. And of course, nobody can guarantee that. There's no way to know.
Right?
There's interesting evidence for it you can read in books and things like that of people that have done more than one lifetime. And I think we all do. I think some people are just a little more gifted or blessed with remembering those times.
Yes. Yes.
So, and I know Vicki Wagner has done many a session of what is called past life regression. How does so I didn't really intend to get onto this topic, but now
I
that we're
know.
here, I'm enjoying talking about it. That is something that, well, I have some experience with going through with Vicki
Mhm.
Wagner in a hypnotic session or a session of whatever you call it, past life regression. How, what's that all about? How does that work?
Well, you get into just a quiet space and you allow your mind to go back into time and
Mm,
you remember things from a previous lifetime. And in there, by remembering, there's also lots of lessons in it too. And so, what did you learn in that lifetime that maybe this lifetime or, the next lifetime, you're being asked to look at it and to learn from it and grow from it.
mhm.
So, yeah, it's very interesting to go back in time and allow yourself to be in that space to remember things and also to see how far have you come from that lifetime. Yeah.
Right,
How have you changed? How have you grown? How have you, become hopefully a better person? I feel each lifetime learning those lessons, we get to be a better person.
right.
So,
I think you're right about that. I think, well, let's put it this way. I think and I trust that that's the goal
yes.
of learning some lessons and hopefully becoming a better person in some
Mhm.
way or another. Now, that doesn't mean that you might not have been a great person 10 lifetimes ago.
Right.
That's fine. It's progress is not a straight line. It never is. But yeah, it's interesting to think that we might have been other places, other times, or at least
Mhm.
who's the I'm trying to think of there's like a whole series of books on past lives and things like that. Who wrote that? He's a
Oh,
doctor in Miami now, I
yeah.
think, or was.
Oh my goodness, I can't.
Er, it'll come to me. I'll
Yeah.
remember it eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's fantastic. He's
Yeah.
the one that really put past life regression on the map.
Yes.
Oh gosh,
Yes.
if I could think of him. I'll have to think
I'll
of.
I'll think of it. If I have to, I'll do a quick Google
I know.
search when whatchamacallit when we take our break.
Take a
But
break. Yeah.
yeah, well, I'll find out. It's all right. Don't worry about it, folks. It's not required reading. But like you said,
Very,
he's
very
written a
interesting.
series of several books
Mhm.
about his experience with patients and their past lives, and some of the stuff is amazingly. I'm not going to say accurate. What's the right word? It really it would have been hard to fake the stories that his
Right.
patients have told him while under hypnosis and while experiencing past lives and all of that. And some of it, I'm not going to say is provable, but it's demonstratable that yes, they were there and that they have these memories and stuff like that. And I can see Vicky on her phone doing the quick Google thing. Did you find him?
I, Brian Weiss.
Brian Weiss. Thank you very
Yes.
much. I don't.
Amazing. Absolutely.
I'm assuming Dr. Weiss is still with us. I don't know that, but
I believe
he's
so.
not he's not that old. Yeah, correct. So anyway, so all this started, speaking of old, all this started with a discussion of birthdays and all of that sort of a thing. So it's just it's just so interesting that as the years pass
Hmm.
and and it happened again this past week within, and you and I have had this discussion several times. I guess that's because things are moving along and people are getting up there and all that. That again, an old friend from the radio business, not BJ, a guy I worked with before BJ Odom, at another radio station in Southwest Florida, sent me a message on Facebook to say that another one of our former friend and disc jockeys had passed. He was a little older. He
Oh,
was,
I'm sorry.
older when I was back there. Of course, we're all getting older.
We're all up there.
Right. But but he had passed and was just letting me know and all of that. And I wrote back to him to thank him, to tell him, and I mentioned something that my father told me um, when he was getting up there in age, in his 70s and 80s, and that he would mark the passing of the years by keeping track of the increasing number of funerals he attended.
Oh my goodness.
Right? And
Oh boy.
I mean, not in a gruesome or not in
No,
an ugly state, but it's like,
no,
okay, you when you were in your 30s and 40s, you never heard of that sort of thing. It
no.
was not something that you experienced.
Right.
Um, and then as the years kind of go, and you're still here,
Yes.
the good news is you're still here keeping track. But part of that experience is you are that news comes to you more often than it did in the past.
Yeah.
How's that? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Sadly, yes.
Sadly, yes. And that
Mhm.
we're not all going to be around for that 100th birthday that I'm planning on. But so, yeah, it's going to be, it's interesting. That's all I can say is because I'm not, I'm not a very emotional person. So I read that news and I go, oh, wow, that's sad and interesting. And I'm sorry to hear that. And yet, I mean, I didn't know this person very super well or anything like that. So anyway, it's not,
Right. Yeah.
whatever. I don't know what that means emotionally, and
It,
it's not part of the conversation here, but it's just part of the passing of time, I guess is
yeah,
what
it's just part of life.
I'm
And then with that said, be grateful that we're healthy, that we
Yes.
still get around, we, can function and,
Yes.
enjoy things. So making the best of every moment that you can, because
Absolutely.
you never know what's
Absolutely. That's been that has been on my mind. I'm not going to say a lot, but it's been back there for some reason. It's
Mhm.
been niggling at me a little bit. Is like
Right.
because you know what started it, and what started it was when you and I started keeping the journal thing.
Yes.
And I watched a couple of YouTube videos about journaling and about goal
Yeah.
setting and all of that kind of, and
Mhm.
so many of them are the usual, you got to figure out your why in life. Why are you here? What are you trying to do? What is it that, if you believe in God, what did God send you here to do? If you're not a believer in God, what is your mission, here that,
Right.
that you choose to, as Mission Impossible would say, what's that mission that, if you choose to accept it? And I've
Yes.
struggled with that. I really have struggled with coming up with what at this point in life, because I mean,
Mhm.
when you're young and you have a career or a family, and I had one, not the other, um, that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
I was married, I had a house, I had a career, so did my spouse. So, it was, I'm not going to say I had a real mission then, but it was easier to wake up and know what to do on any given day. On
Right.
any given day.
Yeah.
And now, not so much.
No,
And it's both a blessing and a curse. It's
it
like,
is.
I don't have to do a damn thing today. And then sometimes when that soaks in, then I don't do a damn thing all day. And I go to bed and I'm like, well, you were totally useless today. You made no, as Steve Jobs would have said, my old boss, Steve Jobs would have said, I put zero dent in the universe today. He always used to say, go out and
Oh
make a
my
dent in the
gosh.
universe.
Make a dent.
Make a dent in the universe. I love that.
Oh my gosh.
But I didn't. And I allowed some self guilt over that. And so I'm still working on that. I'm still working on that. That piece of,
Sometimes, well,
now that
sometimes
I'm here and now I'm this age, what the hell am I going to do with the time, with the effort, with the life that I have left?
whatever you want to choose, you've worked really hard.
Hmm.
Now you're like on, semi-retirement. And so
Semi.
some days, some days are just like that. You just can't get yourself motivated. So just being kind with yourself to go, okay, you had a lazy day, you had a nothing day.
Right.
What can you focus on today, to change that? Take a walk, clean up the house, get with friends, read a
Right.
book, something that makes you feel like, well, I did something today.
Right, right. And we've talked about this before. I don't want to, go down the same traveled road again, but yes, all of that is good, and I appreciate all of that. The challenge, of course, is when those days start to add up to, there've been a
Yes.
couple of them, two or three of them this week or something like that, and it's
Yeah,
like,
then there's
maybe
kind
you
of a
gotta.
pattern.
What's that?
It's kind of a pattern. You got to go, oh, wait a minute.
Exactly,
You put the
exactly.
put the brakes on.
Yeah, pump the brakes a little bit, try something different. And so yes, so a lot of that has been on my brain in the past few weeks and past
Mhm.
month or so. I don't know. So yeah, I've done a couple of things to stir things up in my life, and some of them are going to take a little time. Like I'm going to be moving. I'm not moving out of Gainesville, Florida. I am going to get a different apartment just because a nicer, better deal has come along, and it's something I've been interested in for a while. So
Well,
that
that's good.
will. And I thought about that the other night. I've talked about on this show before my little sense of wanderlust, my little sense of wanting to
Yeah.
be different thing, be in different places and whatever. And you and I have talked
Yes,
about this 100
absolutely.
times. And I'm like, is that going to feed that a little bit? Even though I'm not leaving town, it's a different neighborhood,
Yes,
a different routine, a different place
right.
to go grocery shopping, a different whatever. Will that feed that itch? Will that scratch that itch a little bit? And I think it will. I think it will a little bit.
Feel it will.
Yeah.
And then go from there. Go, okay, what else can I do today? And that doesn't mean you have
Right.
to do something every single day. Yeah, go out and explore. You've got a whole new arena to explore,
Right.
to discover. And then
Exactly.
sometimes, Rick and I just get in the car and just take a drive and, go for an adventure and just see what happens, what comes up.
Hmm.
My ex-father-in-law would say, what floats our boat, you know?
Right. Right. Well, he was from Maine, so it makes sense. I think, right? Do I have that
Well,
right?
this was
Oh,
w- w-
a different father-in-law.
different. It's
Sorry.
a stepfather-in-law,
Oh,
Rick's
okay. Never mind. No
stepfather.
worries.
Yeah, his father passed when he was younger, so
Oh, okay.
real
No
nice
worries.
guy, and he lived in New York State and moved to Florida. But
Oh,
yeah, he'd always,
whatever
whatever
floats your
floats
boat.
your boat, and what the heck? And that's how he would just whatever he wanted to do that day, he would just do. And if he did nothing, he was okay with it. So it's
Yeah,
just you get into the pattern of doing nothing day after day after day. Well, that's,
that's a different,
but
that's a totally different issue. That's a totally
but
different issue.
yeah, and every once in a while we have to recharge ourselves. And if that means just sitting in front of the TV set or taking a nap or, doing nothing, then it's okay.
Hey, it's Bill stepping out of the studio for a quick second. On the podcast, one of the things we talk about a lot is motivation, the desire to get things done in life. It might be physical stuff, losing a few pounds, getting a better job, finding a great relationship. Or it might be more of what I like to call internal things, finding ways to feel better about yourself or life in general. Well, to help our listeners along that particular path, we've prepared a helpful, simple guide for personal motivation. It's called Flipping the Switch: How to Create Motivation at a Moment's Notice. I'd like to send you a free copy, along with some other special bonus goodies. Bonus, you say? Well, yes, kind of an unadvertised in-store special. What is it? Well, you'll just have to find out for yourself. So, do this. Head over to the website, www.thepracticalpathpodcast.com. Yep, the same name as the podcast itself. Put in your email and we'll immediately send you to the free download. We'll also let you know about upcoming podcast episodes and other behind-the-scenes information. Again, just head over to the website, www.thepracticalpathpodcast.com, and get your free guide to boosting your personal motivation. I'm sure you'll find it helpful and, dare I say, practical. Now, back to the show.
Got to be
I should
kind
be
to
I
yourself.
should be so charged up after recharge with all the recharging I'm doing. I should be at 100% and then some. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, look, you've got a new apartment. You're going to
Right.
have to pack. You've got this
Yep.
new adventure coming up.
Yep. Yep.
So
I'm
it's
gonna have to pack up
awesome.
things.
Yes.
This is one of those. This is yet another one of those cases where I look around the apartment and I say, "Thank you, God, that I live this nice little minimal lifestyle, and it'll be easy. I'll get a couple of the college kids, the college hunks moving junk or whatever they call them. It's
Right.
and in 2 hours it'll be over. It'll be
Mhm.
great.
You got a
So
new beginning in 2 hours.
that's it. That's all it. So. And so anyway, but yes, there's things that need to be, all the change of addresses and all the other,
Oh, yeah.
yes. So everybody who's moved in, that's everybody knows that there's a process there, and I'm looking forward to that. So
Mhm.
it should be fun. It should be interesting. It should
Yes.
be, yeah. So you'll see.
You.
We'll find out. We'll find out. I think, and I remember reading in my journal, and I'm kind of looking around. It's over there somewhere. I don't. It doesn't matter because I remember the line that I said that something that does stir me, something that does give me a little boost or energy, juice or motivation to do something is that looking for more of a sense of wonder and awe in my life. And I know a new apartment is not a sense of awe. I get that. I'm just jumping off on that idea of what gets you out of bed, what floats your boat, as your
Yeah.
father-in-law used to say. And I do think that there's more of that I want in my life here in the coming years. I'm not sure
Mhm.
how that is going to work, but I was watching some TV show or whatever, and it was just a commercial of somebody out camping somewhere or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I want more of that. Some just
Yeah.
to travel around, even if I shouldn't say even. My goal would be just to, like you said, you and your husband would occasionally just get in the car and go. I'd like to just get in the car and go for like a month.
Well, go for it. You
Yeah,
work,
I know.
you work from home. You've got your computer.
I have laptop will travel. Absolutely.
Yes.
So that's not an issue. I mean, it's not going to happen tomorrow or this month, but maybe this summer or something like that, or as things
Exactly.
get going and get ramped up and all of that with
Mhm.
the new place and the new, whatever work I do on the computer and all of that. So yes, I think
Yeah.
I think while I have my physical health, which is still pretty good, and while I
Yeah.
still have my brains, which they're okay.
They're wonderful.
Some days not so much, some days a little mushy, but again, I think that's part of the thing. I think if you're sitting around the house doing nothing for a couple 3 days at a time, your brain and body both start to turn to mush.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
interested in that. So
Mhm.
anyway, I this whole thing started with Miss Vicky's birthday, and so I'm just going to circle back to that and say I hope you have a great one. I know you will,
Thank you.
and if your birthday is coming up, any of our listeners, or even if it's not, I mean, like Vicky said, you're always at the point where you can decide what you want to do and how you
Mhm.
want to live your life and all of that. And I think
Yep.
that's yes, I think that's all important. I think it really
It
is
is.
to make rather than just coasting along, rather,
Yeah.
somebody else. And I know we're big fans of go with the flow and all that, but one of my favorite bumper stickers is only dead fish go with the flow.
Oh,
So I don't want to be one of those dead fish floating
no.
down the river. No, I don't.
No, thank you.
I like to go with the flow, but I understand that that you do have to make your own decisions about things.
Yes.
So
Mhm. Yeah.
anyway, that's long story short. Make some decisions about what you'd like to do with. And
Mhm.
I know everybody has their own uh, 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 story in life of where
Mhm.
they're at and what they need to do to get by and families and jobs and all. I understand. I get it. I do. I'm not telling you to, quit your job and become a nomad or whatever. I mean, although that sounds like fun to me, but I'm at a place where I can entertain those thoughts.
Yes.
Not everybody is. I
No.
understand that. Whatever. So I was, I a lot of this, of course, comes back to the idea of what you are thinking and feeling on the inside, um, and what little I think you always say that, sometimes the universe gives you a nudge about something
Oh,
that
yes.
something comes along.
Mhm. Mhm.
I saw a great article on, there's an online newspaper out of Europe called The Guardian, and
Oh,
I'm not a huge fan, but I get their daily little synopsis.
okay.
The headline, when I saw this headline, I had to read the article, and the headline was, "Your inner voice is telling you something. If you listen closely, though, you might not like it."
Oh, oh my gosh.
I'm like,
Well,
okay, you got me. I got to read that. There's
hmm,
no way I can't read that. Inner voice is telling me something, but I may not like it. Now, first of all, I should say that one of the authors that I've always liked, Michael O'Neill, who wrote a whole,
oh
he's
yeah.
a coach and a self-help guru and all of that. And one of his best quotes, which I've used on the show before, but I'll remind folks of it, is, if that little inner voice that you hear is telling you you're doing something wrong or you suck, that's not your voice. That's not you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's not you. That's somebody else's programming. That's somebody else's whatever.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
having said that, I want people to know that if you do listen closely, you have to be, what's the word? You have to be discerning. How's that for a
Yes.
good word?
Hmm.
When you hear things, when you listen and you hear the voice, okay, is that me or is that? And part of this article, a big part of this article, was all about that discernment process.
Yes.
Um, and and it's all about, in the author of this article's thing, it's all about 4 or 5 points that they made, which are that you need to be capable or willing or open to the idea of what are the quote unquote unquestioned habits or rules in your life,
Mm.
and
Yep.
be aware that, is that really serving you,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
part of her point was, and one of a few important points, but that voice you hear might be the voice of one of those quote unquote unquestioned rules, right?
Hmm.
Because we
Yeah,
get so many of
absolutely.
those. We get those by the
Oh,
ton.
well, when we're little, we look at these great big people, called our parents or teachers or whoever, and we
Right?
go, wow, well, they're big. They must know everything. So we just listen to them and just go, well, they're right. So when we get older and we start looking at, well, they've got little kids in them, and the programming that we receive from people, they pass on whatever they've been programmed to believe. So we
Right.
have to question, is this, right for me, or is this somebody else's issue that they're passing on to me because they can't deal with it, so they'll just push it onto me, or it feeds them to be, the bigger person, even though they're a little person inside.
Right.
So questioning, does this resonate with me? Does it jive? Is it something that I need to look at a little deeper? So, and don't take everything on face value.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. You this is going to be a small aside, but I'm curious to
Huh?
hear your, I don't know, explanation, reasoning, whatever. And you use that phrase, that term, a lot on this show, and it's important to remember, and I love that. That we have this inner child, this whatever,
Mhm.
and who takes the, well, you tell me, because that's my question. That Why do you use that terminology to describe the inner spirit of you and I? If I'm saying it, if I'm even saying it right, and I'm not sure I am. I know for years since I've known you, you have talked about inner child stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
Where does that come from? Why do you, why don't, why, why doesn't the spirit inside of us grow up like we do physically on the outside? If that's a thing, if that's even a question.
Well, it's a good question because we get programmed when we're little. Because we're little, and like I said before, we look up at these big people and they know everything. They're telling us what to do, how to do it, right or wrong. And so that gets ingrained in us. So we live it and we repeat it over and over again until we get to a point of questioning, going, wait a minute, this doesn't seem to resonate with me anymore. Why am I
Right.
doing the same thing when
Or
this,
maybe not. I mean, it's
or
also
maybe,
possible that you never get around to questioning it, right?
right. Or some people don't question it. They just become robotic and just repeat, repeat, repeat. And then
Hmm.
they, if they have kids, they, repeat the same thing to them. And then, but at some point you got to go, wait a minute. Why am I listening, still doing things that I was told when I was a kid?
Mm.
I'm an adult now. I have choices. I have different perspectives. So it takes some, courage sometimes to go in and look at the darkness that's within us that we've been carrying and go, well, let me just put it out on the table and just look at it, and see, does it still resonate with me? Does it still make sense for me? Or am I just, just following it because this is what I've been told? And it's like programming. You've
Right.
been told something, so it's like a computer. You put something in the computer, it stays there until you change it.
At least
And
at
it, and
least
it,
until the next Windows upgrade.
I know,
Yes.
and a lot of people are afraid to go into the darkness to put the light into it. I mean, I was resistant for a long time to do that,
Hmm.
and I finally got to the point of I thought about committing suicide, and I thought, because I just was living my life over and over and over again, and picking the same people, in relationships. And at one point, I was like, why am I doing this?
Right.
So I went and got help, and that's how I got into hypnosis. That's how I got into, intuitive guidance and doing readings. It's because I had finally said, I've got to stop, you know, belittling myself and just being my worst enemy,
Hmm.
because I believed all the stories that were pounded into me and literally beaten into me when I was a child.
Is it possible for someone to have, is it always a negative? I guess is my question. Or can somebody have good stuff put into them and then they live from that and
Well, there's
mm,
good stuff too, but we're
right.
talking about why do you bring up the inner child?
Yes.
Because the child looks at these big people and thinks, well, they know everything. They've been around a long time. You know,
Right.
they're supposed to be, guiding me and, helping me and, raising me. And they have little kids, excuse me, they have little kids inside of them.
Right.
So they're just repeating what they know because they didn't do the inner work. You got to do the inner work. You got to look into the darkness, just see things for what they are, just without any judgment, just lay it out at the shifting your perspective of, well, this is their stuff. What can I choose to do now? How can I
Right.
choose to be my own best friend?
Right. Right. So
And
interesting.
it can
It's
be
always, and again, we make this point almost every week, but I'll make it again, and that is it's so important to have that sense or at least that ability to at some point
mhm,
have a moment of awareness to
mhm,
go, I've been thinking that thing that this A happens and then I think B and do
right,
C or whatever. And I've done
right,
that again and again and again and again for years and years and years. I wonder why. Or I wonder, there's that light bulb moment. And we
right.
talk about, shining
Mhm,
light in the darkness.
absolutely.
There's that light bulb moment where you go, why am I doing that? Or is that right? Or is that the best that I can do in this
Right.
situation or
Yeah.
whatever?
So
Yeah.
questioning, it's okay to question. It's
All
okay.
of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, yeah.
To take
All
an,
of that and more is in this article, and I want to continue with it. But look at that;
okay.
we're 30 minutes in, and I did want to take a quick break so people can refill their coffee or whatever. But before I do, this is something that Miss Vicki does for clients constantly. I'm living proof, and and as are hundreds and hundreds of her other clients. And if that's something that you might be interested in learning a little bit of, and I guess if somebody just so here's my question is if somebody is interested in this sort of a thing,
Right.
they don't even really have to know what it is that that thing is driving them. They
Right.
just have to know that there is something,
Something. Yes.
right, that is
Yes.
causing them to think or feel or react or act in a certain way. And
Right.
perhaps maybe that there could be an upgrade to that.
Well, it's also nice to know that you're working with somebody that knows what they're going through
Right.
and can, I've had a lot of people say, I just feel so comfortable with you because I don't put any judgment on it.
Right.
I just, excuse me, I just see things for what they are. And by being the observer of it, I also feel things and know things, is I can pull that up
Right.
and in a a safe arena so that they can look at it.
There you go.
Know that
So if
somebody,
someone would like to perhaps experience that before we take our break, tell the people how they could get in touch with you, please.
well, they can call 239-248-0586 or email Vicki, Vicki, Wagoner, Wagoner, 53 at gmail.com.
There you go. And of course, this has nothing to do with everything, but with any of this. But if I don't mention it, Vicky will remind me and scold me that I
Yes,
also
I
have to tell
will.
people that you can look up Bill's information for getting along with your technology in life, which has nothing
Yes,
to do with your inner voice. It's all about your outer voice and how you curse at your phone. But
yes.
do you know anybody who does that? And look me up on YouTube. Just do a quick check for Bill's iPhone tips and you'll find my stuff. All right, let's take a quick break and we'll continue with this article about if your inner voice is telling you something, but you may not like it. And we will do that when we come right back. And welcome back. This is The Practical Path, a podcast for personal and spiritual growth. And like we said, this is step number 31 along the path. And we've been talking about a lot of, I mean, it's interesting. I listen back to our podcasts, and like a lot of people, we have one or two good messages that we repeat in many different ways.
Yes, we do.
There's nothing wrong with that because, I mean, I think people will hear you when they're ready to hear it,
Yes.
or will get another lesson or will receive their lesson in however they meant to receive it. So,
Right.
if we keep putting out a good message or whatever, I think we're doing the job here. So
I
that's
think
all.
so.
I think so. Before the break, we were talking about an article I wish I wrote, called Your Inner Voice is Telling You Something, but if you listen closely, you may not like it. And we had spent a ton of time, good time, on questioning what used to be unquestioned habits or rules in your life.
Yeah.
And really that awareness of why do I think this, or why do I do this, or why do I always respond that way?
Yeah.
That to me is one of the core principles of personal and spiritual growth. It really is. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
if you're listening to this show, A, we thank you, and B, we know that you are interested in personal and spiritual growth. And if that's the case, you're going to be doing that sort of a thing, probably, hopefully, on a regular basis.
Yes.
A couple of the other things mentioned in this post were stuff we have started to already cover, which is the power of questioning, and the author in her article called it traditions, the power of questioning traditions.
Yes.
Um, you know, and how those traditions or habits or whatever you call them, they really become, I hate to say it, but they could become laws in your life that
Oh,
they're not, you don't give it any thought. There's no justification. There's no, why am I doing this? It's the way it's done. Really? Why?
it's like a habit. You just get in that habit of just repeat, repeat, repeat.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
Most of the time with those habits, again, this is where that awareness comes in, that we do something, and honestly, we don't even think about it anymore, right? I mean, that's
Yep.
why it's a habit. I mean,
Yeah, it's programming.
if you play any sport at all, if you golf or bowling or yours truly's favorite pickleball, there comes a time, at least the goal, I should say, The
Mhm.
goal is that there comes a time when you're playing the game that you're not thinking about playing the game.
Right.
And in fact, it's interesting that I was watching a basketball game on TV last night, and one of the announcers even said that if you're playing the game and you're thinking about it, you're way too slow. You're way
Oh,
too slow because the guys that are playing around you, they're not thinking. They're just doing. They're in the
doing.
moment. They're so
Right.
anyway, what's that leading to? Well, that's leading to this questioning the habits, the traditions, the whatever that you have lived with forever.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's hard. It's hard because it's it, and here's in you tell me what your idea is, but it to me it's hard because those things are invisible to you. They're invisible because you've been doing it for so long
Right. Yeah.
without thinking
Hmm.
that somebody points something out to you and go, why do you do that? And you go, I do that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're
Hmm.
like, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, really? And it may be a habit or like you said, habit, tradition, whatever, a way of
Right.
thinking, a way of acting, a way of speaking, a way of relating to other people
Right.
that
Yeah.
you never gave any thought to because you've just been
Right.
doing it for so doggone long.
Well, it gets ingrained.
Exactly.
It's just ingrained in there and you just automatically do it. And so that's where you have to step back and go, whoa, wait a minute. Especially if somebody points it out, you go, wait a minute. Maybe I really need to look at this. Why am
Right.
I doing this? Where did this come from?
Right. 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 And then that leads to her next thing, which is hopefully where we get to, which is what she calls rethinking everyday choices. Rethinking,
Hmm.
which I like that because it's not like, oh, I've been so terrible for the past years. I've been awful about it. No, we're just rethinking.
Yep.
And I've used my quote from the group that I'm in as well, where the guy who is in charge of my group always says, perhaps you'd like to make a different decision.
And that's a good one because it
Yeah,
makes you stop and think and go, wait a minute. Let me make this different choice, this different decision, and
right,
see how it works.
right, right. The author for this post makes the case at the end of it for therapy, for more traditional therapy.
Hmm.
Good therapy, and this is me quoting now, good therapy helps people recognize the rules they unconsciously live by,
Hmm.
like, the way you do anything in life, drive, cook, relate to people, whatever. It creates and here's I think the important part, good therapy creates a space to hear your own thoughts in a new way.
Yes,
And I
absolutely.
know you and I have had discussions about traditional therapy. We had a good friend who was a traditional therapist.
Yes.
And I remember Vicki Wagner telling Bill occasionally, I can do in an hour what this lady's taking 10 years to do. We're not going to mention any names. We're not going to embarrass anybody.
No.
I understand the power of that. I understand the power of therapy for the idea that that it does create a safe space for you to, and I'm
Yes.
not using that in the there that whole term safe space has kind of become a little politically charged, and that's not how I mean it. I mean it really does give you a quiet hour of focused thought and conversation with somebody else who's not going to judge you, who's not going to try and fix you, who's not going to whatever. So sort of, I'm not saying that you are a therapist, but because that's a licensed thing, but what you do is very much therapy.
Oh,
How's that?
absolutely.
Does that? Yeah,
In
yeah,
a different perspective, because
right,
what I do is I want the person to be okay, to feel safe, to bring it up and look at it from that different perspective.
right,
And that's what's important is what they see it for what it is here, yet stepping back and looking at the bigger picture of it, getting a different perspective on it, enhances your life. And it's done in a gentle way of it's not about blaming, the people that did this to you, because obviously they had something going on themselves that they didn't have the courage and the strength and the love for themselves to look at it. So they just paid it
right,
forward. So looking
right,
at just, being in that space of willingness to see it from that different perspective is a huge step. It's the biggest step you're going to take because then everything else starts changing after that. And it's all positive and
Right.
it's empowering.
I think one of the big deal ideas with it, and it works in everything. It works in whatever. My friend Vicki can tell Bill here that I'm doing this thing that I'm doing is just ridiculous and self-destructive and whatever, whatever, whatever. She can tell me that all day long, and I can go, yeah, yeah, yeah. But until I have the moment myself to
Yes.
go, oh, maybe I can make a different decision.
Hmm.
I think, and again, I'm not a therapist and I've never played one on TV, but I think that that's the whole point of all of this because I can't change someone else. Someone else can't change me. It's impossible.
Yes, it
Now,
is.
if you're, if I'm in the army or if I'm in prison or something like that, yes, there are rules that I'm going to live by when I'm in that experience. I get it.
Right.
But for those of us in everyday life, a friend can tell you you're screwing up something constantly, but until you have the moment to go, oh wow, maybe I'll do it differently that's
Hmm.
the only time that real change happens. And I think that's your gift. I think that's the gift of regular therapy. I think that's the gift that any good friend gives to another friend to be able to say, have you thought about maybe some other thing here?
And like you said, you're the one that has to make the change.
Right,
I Nobody can make anybody do anything. We have to make that decision.
right, right. So, and again, back to the concept of awareness, I think if the therapist or if the therapist, I'm going to use that generic term. It doesn't mean a doctor. It doesn't mean a PhD with, a couch and a plaque hanging on the wall. But that therapist could be your friend. It could be whatever.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe that's why animals are such good therapy for people because your dog doesn't actually tell you anything, but your dog reflects things back to you in a way where you have the moment to go, "Oh, wait a minute. I think we're having a breakthrough here. I think we're onto something." Because really, I mean, if a friend tells you something over and over, you're doing this wrong, you're screwing up, you're being a stupid about something, and you're not convinced, otherwise, it's
Yeah.
it's wasted conversation. It's that you're not going to change.
Well,
I,
also in that kind of talk too, you're compounding what that person's already feeling.
right. In other
So
words, you're just what do you mean compounding? You're reinforcing?
you're just reinforcing by saying, you keep doing the stupid thing over and over and over again. Whereas you go, hey, why don't you look at it from this different perspective?
Right.
Why don't you just take
Right.
a moment to sit with it, feel it, and then, look at other options that are available to you. So it always has to
Right.
be the positive.
Yes. And I think that's what the whole process, and again,
Hmm.
small t therapy. I mean, it's
Yes.
whatever you choose, however you choose to do it, whether it's
Mhm.
talking to a friend or walking in nature or
Yeah. Oh,
sitting
yeah.
on a couch somewhere or in a session with, Vicki Wagner or whatever like that. That yes, that and in fact, the author makes that point on here that, the therapy comes in all shapes and sizes.
Yes.
A lot of it comes also from the relationships we have with people. Again, if we are open and aware, therapy, she says, is valuable, but insights can also come from honest friends, caring mentors, even a casual observation from a loved one who helps us see things differently about ourselves, which is exactly what we've been talking about, which
Yes,
is
absolutely.
having that, uh, 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 again, it wrangles me just a little bit to say safe space because again, I think I'm talking like on a college campus to kids who've never, experienced real life. But no, when Bill and Vicki say safe space, we mean it literally in terms of two
Yes.
friends talking and you are confident in the relationship I'm confident that no matter what I say to this friend, that it's not going to mess up the, if it does, that's a whole nother matter, but it's not going to mess up the relationship. It's not going, they're going to take it the right way.
Right. Well,
So
another way,
I am safe to say it and you are safe to receive it.
absolutely. And also another word too is somebody that makes you feel comfortable.
Sure.
So, because that's very important in shifting perspective is that feeling comfortable that you can say what you need to say and getting that all out and then shifting your perspective on it to have this whole new beginning.
Right.
And that's what I offer people because I know it, I lived it, I understand it. I'm still a work in progress. I'm the first one to say that. You're seeing me on a good day. Um, Yet I know what they're going through. So I make people feel comfortable because, again, like I said before, I'm there to support them, not to judge them
Mm-hmm.
and to encourage them and just to say, you know what, if it feels good for you, do it. If it doesn't, then you know what, just walk away.
Right.
But be okay to know that this was put upon you and you have the ability to change it.
Hmm. I'm not a big fan of the, well, but in this case, I might have to change my mind. I was going to say I'm never a big fan of the, but it's not your fault thing. They use that in advertising all the time. Yeah, your lawn looks terrible. Your car is awful. Your dog is pooping in the backyard, but it's not your fault. It's always, but it's not your fault. And they use that as an advertising hook to
Right.
get your attention and to say, oh, my life sucks, but oh, I'm so glad to know it's not my fault. It's not that. You still have to be, I guess, so back to what you were saying.
Mhm.
You do want to be open and honest with people and say that no, it's not your fault. The things you were given as a child, the things that you were taught, or the things that were hammered into you,
Yeah,
to use the
like
term.
brainwashing.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
It's difficult.
So I guess I guess the point is no, it's not your fault what you were given as a child. That's on your parents and mentors and all of that stuff. But now that you are responsible, I
Right.
don't want to use the word fault. Now you are responsible for what you do with that from today moving forward.
Absolutely, because we have choices. We can choose to stay where we are, or we can choose to move forward. So it is
Right.
our choice. And
Right.
I've actually worked with people where they fought me and I just said, that's your choice. You don't want to hear it. That's okay. Just, know that I, wanted to just do the best for you, but whatever you feel is right for you, go ahead and never see them again. That's their choice.
Right.
And it
Some
is.
people are so ingrained into those, first thing we talked about, those unquestioned habits,
Mhm,
that when you point them out to somebody,
mhm.
they will fight. For
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's like,
another
okay.
one of my, what's that?
And that's why I say, okay, that's what you want. Okay. I
Right.
don't fight them.
I think, I'm not sure if it was Wayne Dyer or who said it, but it's a good one. And that is, if you fight and defend your limitations in life, congratulations, you do get to keep them.
Yes, you do.
If that's something you really want.
And some people are just so conditioned and again, brainwashed that they believe that this is what they want. And sadly, they got to be the ones that want to change. Nobody can
Right.
change them.
Right. Right. So again, here we are back to that awareness thing of that light bulb moment where maybe you recognize, or maybe a trusted friend has told you about this thing, or maybe they just finally got up the courage to tell you after
Mhm.
10 years of knowing you, hey, you do this thing, and are you aware that you're doing this thing? Because it doesn't look like fun or helpful
Yeah.
or useful or whatever.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem is some people just get so ingrained in doing the same thing over and over and over again, they don't even recognize it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I think I've been doing that with my diet and exercise stuff. And the problem is I'm aware. I'm aware of what I'm doing and I still do it.
And that's your choice, and
Right.
until you're ready.
Right. So sometimes I'm thinking might have been better just to not know. No, that's not true. Yeah, it's funny.
Oh,
Yeah, it's funny that a week ago, out of nowhere, Vicki Wagner posted on Facebook, and then she sent it to me as well. This little one of those little tests, one of those little personality tests, and it said Vicki Wagner, overthinker. She said, "You think?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I, that's both of us." And I, I I think that led me down a little rabbit hole of of overthinking videos or overthinking, experts and stuff like that, to talk about how that's just, that's a personality thing. That's not wanting to be wrong. That's not wanting to take a risk. That's not wanting to, and I get that because I've had this new little business idea kind of brewing in the back of my head for a couple of months now. And if
mhm,
I'd have just said, screw it, I'm just diving into it 2 months
right,
ago, I'd have been, well, 2 months ahead of where I'm at now.
right.
So yes, I get that. I do. The overthinking thing is like, oh, what if this happens? Well, what if this happens? Well, what if nobody likes me? Well, what if oh, come on. Who cares? Just do it anyway for, whatever. I mean, Abraham Lincoln said that. If you think other people are thinking about you, you'd be shocked by how much other people just don't think. So, yeah, or something like that.
Yeah,
Or
I
was it
recognize that.
Abraham Lincoln? So, yes,
Yeah,
long story short, do what you need to do. Do what if you have that inner voice. Now, having said that, let's go back to my very, very first thing, and we have a few minutes to finish up.
okay.
That inner voice, if that inner voice is telling you things that are not supportive, not, helpful, whatever. I mean, it can go either way, right? You can do something or have a day where you spend the day doing something and then you're, I don't know, in the bathroom, doing your reflection on life before you go to bed for the night or whatever. And that little inner voice is telling you, boy, you really screwed up today. You really did whatever, whatever. Negative stuff.
Right.
Like we said early on, that's not you so
No.
much. So what do I do with that?
Well, just address it and go, okay, I'm being negative. I'm hurting myself. Let's turn this around. Let's look at the day again. And what did I get done? Or what did I do? Okay. And what can I do tomorrow to change it? So be okay to embrace it and go, you know what? You're right. I could have done much more today. So what can I do tomorrow to shift it?
Okay.
So embrace it, accept it, and then shift it.
So you're saying that, well, I don't want to get into the weeds about, is this me? Is this not me? Is it ego? Is it higher self? Whatever. It doesn't really matter. You're receiving the message.
Mhm.
You might as well do something with it.
Yes. Yeah. So you got the message of, okay, basically, okay, you screwed up today. Okay. All right. Let me look at it. It takes courage to look at it. So, okay, let me
Right.
look at it. How can I shift it? What can I do tomorrow?
Okay.
So
Simple as that.
embracing it, acknowledging it is a huge thing.
Right.
Then shifting it and the next day do something different. So it's a lesson that you've learned. Okay, all right, so I screwed up today. How can I learn from this? It's always a
Right.
learning lesson. Everything is a learning lesson.
I think that I like that as we come down to the end of the hour here, I always like to have a little bit of homework or something or a final thought. And I think that's a good one right there, is that it's all it's all a lesson. It's all
Everything.
a learning opportunity, as they say.
Yes.
So take it as that, and not like that, your life is a mess or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Or beating
Even though
yourself up.
it could be at the moment. It could be. Life
Right.
could be messy right now.
Right.
Doesn't mean it has to be that way in a week or a month or whatever.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. I do. I mean, it makes things a little bit. I do think we put too much pressure on ourselves. I
Oh,
do
we
think we
do.
put too much pressure to
Yeah.
try to be, Superman every day.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and you're going to have some days where you are and some days where you're absolutely not.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that, and I don't want to bring up a whole new subject to because we only have a few minutes left, but I do think that a lot of that nowadays, and I can capsulize it down to, I do think a lot of that is and I'm going to say fault, the issue of social media. Because we
Oh,
see
yeah.
other people having these amazing lives and having fantastic vacations and all of that stuff. And we're thinking, I'm just here working. I'm just living my
Right.
life. Well, you're seeing their highlight reel. You're seeing their best of, and
Yes.
you're seeing it from a perspective of I'm just living my normal life, but they're out there. They had that one moment in the last year where they had a great thing. Okay, cool. You could
Yeah.
do that, not, or have your own version of that or whatever. So anyway, I just
Yeah.
think be careful with, and this might be a whole nother show for a whole nother week, and that is the things that we do allow into our lives, into our brain, into our spirit, into our
Oh, yeah.
whatever awareness.
Hmm.
And to use the bad English, it ain't getting any easier out there
That's,
because of the social media and advertising and
oh,
movies
yeah.
and
And it's right
all of
in
that
our
stuff.
face all the time.
Crazy all
Yeah.
the time,
Hmm.
all the time.
Absolutely.
And we think that we should be living up to some standard that we see outside of us,
Yeah.
and it's just not going to work. It's just you can't. I mean, we can't. We can't all be whatever. Pick your favorite movie star. We can't all be that guy or that girl or whatever. So
But yet, look around you. We have a home that we're living in. We have food on our table. We have, wonderful relationships. We got our health. So bringing it back to the basics is
yes,
what do you have and how
yes,
fortunate are you? And
I agree.
me, as I say, being your own best friend.
That's
So what you say to your
that's
own
it
best
exactly.
friend,
That's
okay?
it exactly.
You'd be their cheerleader. So you've got to
Right.
be your own cheerleader to go, hey, you got it good. You had food this morning. You had a bed to sleep in. You've you've got friends that you can talk with. We're very rich in lots of ways.
I like that. I like that. That's a good place to, excuse me, that's a good place to leave it for now. And I think that's what we'll do. Be, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if it's me, I'm looking for more ways to be grateful for the things that I do have in my life.
Yes, absolutely. And one of them is you wake up every morning.
Yes, yes, I do. Some mornings a lot later than other mornings, but that's okay. That's
Don't
my
get
choice.
up.
That's my choice. Awesome. Awesome. All right, everybody. We really appreciate you being with us for another hour of The Practical Path, the podcast for personal and spiritual growth. If you do enjoy it, feel free to visit. We're getting better. I would say we are making improvements on posting the show. Our Facebook page, if you look up The Practical Path Podcast, you'll find our show page all by itself where you can listen to the show, leave comments, whatever. And then, of course, Vicki posts it on her Facebook page. I posted it on mine. We put it. It's also out there on other platforms. It's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and iHeartRadio. And I'm trying to think of there's 100 other places where you can find this podcast. Wherever you do, if you'd like to leave a quick review and a little
Yes,
5 stars or whatever, we would appreciate that. So there you
yes,
go.
absolutely.
Have yourself a great week, everybody. Just in terms of, if somebody would like to get back in touch with you, Miss Vicki, we'll do that one more time about how they could reach you for help with any and all of the stuff or anything else that you have that we have talked about in the past hour. How do they find you?
Well, they can call or text 239-248-0586 or email Vicki, Vicki, Wagoner, Wagoner, 53 at gmail.com.
There you go. Perfect. And you can find all my technology related stuff
Mhm.
on YouTube at Bill's iPhone Tips on YouTube. There you go. You can find all of that. Easy to go. All right. It's going to take us to the end of the hour. Look at that. Another hour come and gone. I love it. We always have such a good time, and we thank you for joining us. Until then, we'll see you next week. Thanks again for being with us. I'm Bill Sklodowski.
And thank you again for being here. And remember, always be your best friend.